Hey team, we're back today looking at the Espresso menu. Today we're going to be focusing on those milk-based beverages. Primarily we're going to be focusing on the big three, the flat white, the cappuccino and the latte. For all these beverages today we will be using our standard espresso recipe, the Lafare double shot, and we will also be using standard blue top full fat milk. Keep an eye out for some other content regarding plant-based milk alternatives if that's what you're into. First, let's have a look at the quintessential Kiwi favourite, the flat white. Traditionally, a flat white is a strong milky coffee, generally served in a 150ml cup. Always start with your clean handle, rinsed group. So before we steam, we always purge, get rid of any water and condensation. Want it resting with the spout and the steam wand touching so that we have a pivot point to be able to adjust our angles. When we're ready, turning the steam on, sitting our milk with the steam tip touching the surface of the milk on a nice angle, so it's going to allow the steam to push the milk into a whirlpool, creating that stretch as it drags air in. Just texturizing that foam we've created as it heats through. Ideal temperature, somewhere between 60 and 65 degrees. Turning off our steam, tapping it down, bringing any air to the surface, popping any latent bubbles, wiping our steam wand, purging away any excess milk from the end. From here, we're looking to manipulate the milk to create that texture that we're looking for the perfect flat white. So, we surf an adjustment, taking off any excess, or removing liquid to adjust that texture so that milk is where we need it to be. Grabbing our cup, giving the espresso a quick swirl, and then we're just going to pour through the espresso, bringing that liquid all the way to the surface, combining milk and espresso to flavour the milk and the coffee before adding the final touch of foam to the surface. And there we have the quintessential Kiwi favourite, the flat white. So now let's have a look at the cappuccino. The traditional Italian cappuccino was a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 beverage. So it was 1/3 shot of espresso, 1/3 steamed milk, and 1/3 thick, foamy milk texture sitting on the surface. Today, our cappuccinos probably aren't quite as traditional as they were to their Italian heritage, but they're still aiming for a really thick foam cap on the surface. As always, rinse the group, clean your handle. Once our shot's extracting, purging our steam wand. Again, bringing that steam tip to the front of the machine, right on the surface so we get a nice full stretch. We're introducing that air straight away to create that nice thick foam cap texture. As it's whirlpooling, we're mixing that foam texture through, smoothing out the bubbles, keeping an eye on our shot as we're heating it through to 60, 65 degrees, or hot enough to touch, but not physically hold. We turn it off, down with a bang, wiping the wand, and again, purging that steam wand. Taking that espresso shot, giving it a wee swirl. Rather than surfing the milk prior to pouring, we're gonna transfer liquid away by pouring slowly. This just allows us to really thicken up the texture in the jug to give us that really thick, foamy cappuccino. Surfing or blending that milk to incorporate liquid and foam to allow the pour to be easier, and then grabbing that cappuccino cup, pouring through the espresso, mixing milk and coffee together to flavour it, before really pushing and pouring quite quickly to encourage that foam through all the way to the top to create your cappuccino. Final piece of the puzzle, a little dusting of chocolate or cinnamon. It's just a garnish, it's not there to flavour the drink, just to finish that presentation off. Enjoy. Let's have a quick look at the latte. Traditionally, latte would be served more as a coffee-flavoured milk rather than a milky coffee. It should be served slightly larger than your flat white. Typically we go for between 190 and a 220 ml cup or glass. Let's crack into it. As always, rinse, clean, grind. Popping the shot on. Once the shot is on, again, purge the steam wand. Sitting the steam tip just below the surface, slightly deeper than we would for a cappuccino. Turning the steam on, introducing the steam to the milk, just dragging air in to create that foam texture. As it whirlpools, that foam is dragged through, smoothing out any bubbles as we heat to 60 or 65 degrees. Again, hot enough to touch, but not physically hold. Turning off the shot, wipe, purge, and now we're ready to pour. Similar to a flat white, texturing that milk, blending and surfing the liquid and the foam, adjusting the angle and the textures so that we're happy. Swirling the espresso and then pouring through. Bring that crema all the way to the surface, integrating coffee and milk as we pour, flavouring the beverage as we go before finishing on the surface. And there we have our latte. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully these recipes just help you to make better coffee at home.